Influenced by the expectations of the millennial generation, Diebold is reimagining the automated teller machine experience. Diebold has developed the Millennial-Inspired interface for the ATM that enables integration with mobile devices via the cloud, allowing consumers to complete secure, cardless transactions. Diebold's conceptual ATM interface looks and acts like today's mobile devices, with similar navigation and controls. As financial institutions strive to retain and grow consumer relationships, integration of mobile and ATM access points will become critical to providing the convenience consumers desire, especially to the millennial generation. How will Diebold help financial institutions achieve this integration? The answer is in the cloud. With the following demonstration, we'll illustrate how consumers can go cardless by scanning a quick response code and entering an authentication code to initiate ATM transactions. With smartphones used as authentication devices, cardless transactions could reduce security risks related to skimming and to lost or stolen cards. Furthermore, these types of transactions could save time and improve users' experiences at ATMs.
The concept is being referred to as a Millennial-Inspired ATM. That is an ATM that's inspired by the actions and patterns of the millennial generation. When I approach the ATM then, I ask the ATM to show me its QR code, and I scan that QR code with my phone. Then that QR code conveys, through the phone channel now, conveys its information, which is where am I, what ATM am I, and what am I capable of doing. Then transmits that to a cloud-based application. The cloud-based application verifies that this person deserves to be asked, what do you want to do at the ATM, and asks them on their phone. So on the phone then, I choose, I want to do a withdrawal. That request is sent back to the cloud application, and then it says this customer is permitted to do a withdrawal for that amount of money, so then sends to the phone, and this happens simultaneously, sends back to the phone and the user a one-time PIN. At the exact same time, it sends to the ATM a command to prepare itself to accept a PIN, to allow the consumer to enter a PIN. So that's the cloud is coordinating both of these endpoints simultaneously. Once I get the PIN number on my phone, I then turn to the ATM and enter it on the touchscreen of the ATM, which verifies to the cloud application that I'm standing in front of that ATM and know the one-time PIN code. That's enough validation for them then to issue the dispense command, and out comes the money.
Cloud-based software and services enhance efficiencies for financial institutions by enabling a software-as-a-service model. With this model, financial institutions could subscribe to cloud-based software rather than purchasing, installing, and maintaining it on each endpoint device or server.
Let's say that I'm a parent and my son is in a remote city someplace and needs cash for whatever reason. He forgot his card, I want him to have cash for a certain specific purpose, whatever reason. From my phone or any mobile device, actually, I then would go into my banking application, my mobile banking application, and choose a function that would allow me to prearrange a transaction. What I want to do is take money from my checking account and turn it into cash, but I want to send that cash to a person, not to myself. So I step through that. I'll choose prearranged transaction or queue a transaction. It will ask me what accounts do I want involved in this transaction, and then I'll choose send to a person. When I do that, it says you want to send this to a person in your contact list, which it gets from the phone environment itself. What I'll do then is say, that's the person, please send them an SMS and tell me when the transaction happens. If I'm the son, I receive this information. It's a 6-digit code. I go to the nearest ATM that can support this kind of transaction. I enter that 6-digit code. The ATM contacts the service in the cloud that I mentioned before, the application that's in the cloud, and says that code is associated with this account number and this amount of money. You're authorized to give this money to the person who entered that code, and the money comes out. Everything is presented on one screen, so if I want to do a transfer from one account to another in a certain amount, all of that information is presented in one screen and in a way that uses typical and expected gestures that one would expect on a mobile device. So flick and drag and drop would be incorporated into the interface. What we're going to show is an interface that says from an account to an account and an amount. And the interesting thing about this is that it's kind of a smart interface. In other words, it won't let you set up something that it knows is not possible. So if I wanted to do a transfer from my savings account to my savings account, that doesn't make any sense, so the interface won't allow that to happen. If I want to go from my checking account to cash, I can only do that in certain denominations, so the numeric entry will be done in a much more constrained environment. Multiples of 20, for example, and I would then just dial up the amount of money that I wanted in there. So it's kind of a smart interface, which is also typical and expected by the user community of devices like that.
These cloud-connected terminal scenarios demonstrate just two of the ways pre-staged and cardless transactions are becoming part of Diebold's growing mobile transaction services suite. We recognize the value of delivering cloud services and are pleased to illustrate how we're exploring such a model. Additional solutions include remote deposit capture, cashless person-to-person payments, and MobiTransact Card Command, which allows consumers to lock and unlock access to their bank cards for increased security. For more information about how Diebold can leverage cloud-based services to enhance convenience for financial institutions and consumers, see your Diebold representative.